but a little bit of a stunner. Like we're gearing up. We're anticipating the NCAA tournament coming up, Selection Sunday. We all love the NCAA tournament. We love all the upsets. We love all the chaos. We love all the madness. And when you talk about Miami of Ohio, you talk about a team out of the MAC, you would think that, we talk about Miami in March, we're talking about them out of the MAC being one of those Cinderella teams, upsetting teams, knocking off teams. But this has been such a dominant season for them, undefeated, or at least we're undefeated coming into today. They're the team that gets upset. They're the team that gets knocked out in surprising form. And joining us now, who usually joins us on Tuesdays, but giving us time because he's in Cleveland covering the MAC tournament, covering the Red Hawks of Miami, Paul Fritschner from the Rebound Rundown, giving us some time here today. Paul, how are we? Appreciate your time. What's going on, man?
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, Justin. What a stunner of a day, an absolute stunner of a day. It's weird. Travis still talked about it a little bit after the game, where you could tell he sort of made an inference to it in his post-game press conference when he was asked about the MAC tournament format, and then didn't exactly say, yeah, they should change it. But basically what he was implying was, hey, we went 31-0 and went undefeated, and the reward was 11 a.m. on Thursday morning against a team that has given us some trouble this year, right? Why don't we protect the teams like Miami and Akron? And I don't blame him for that. But overall, look, UMass had to play at the same time, and they punked Miami on the glass. That's where this game was decided. They out-rebounded Miami 41-24. They outscored Miami 24-8 on points on second chance points. That's your game right there.
Yeah, and look, a little bit of a stunner too, because they got out, up early. I'm doing my thing. I'm running around the office working, and then I was on a meeting. I end that meeting, and I check it. I refresh it. I see social media blowing up. I couldn't believe they pulled it off. I saw you post the clip as time was expiring on the Rebound Rundown account. Just what was the vibe in that arena like? Because, look, I think a lot of people felt like Miami, after going 31-0, that they weren't going to win the MAC tournament. But I think if they weren't going to win the MAC tournament, maybe felt like that was going to happen later in the tournament, like the championship, like against Akron, right? For it to happen against UMass, I mean, it was kind of a deflating feel and vibe in that arena, right? Or was it a lot of joy and, because of all the excitement of the upset? What was that environment like in the arena?
No, I mean, I was sitting behind the UMass student radio, so there was definitely some elation from there. But other than that, it was I was sitting on the Miami. The press seating was on Miami's side of the arena, and credit to the Miami fans that traveled to this game. There was a massive Miami crowd there for it being an 11 a.m. game on a Thursday. And it was stunned silence at the end. If we're just calling it like it is, there weren't many UMass fans at all at that game, maybe a handful here and there, but it was a Miami dominant crowd. And you could kind of tell the air go out of the building at the very end, where there was a lot of, wow, that actually just happened. And the air goes out because it's 95% Miami fans there. And I think maybe the neutrals, the other fans of the other teams that were there, some Bowling Green fans, some Toledo fans that, were waiting on the next game, probably want UMass to win that game so they don't have to deal with Miami next. But, that's one of those situations where you get to March, you've played a team twice already. They've played you tough in both games, and you get down to, the final minute where, Miami was up 11 with about 8 minutes to go. And UMass just kept making plays. They just kept getting rebounds. They just kept boxing out. Come back, tie the game. And you feel like somehow, some way, Miami's going to be able to get this done. Somehow, they've done it all year. Surely this is the time they'll be able to figure it out, but it wasn't today.
So now, theoretically, is the MAC a two-bid league? Because I think a lot of people say you're undefeated, you're fine, you're in. I still think they're in, but I think the confidence, where are we with the confidence level of that? Could we expect any kind of weird stuff happening on Selection Sunday? Because again, I don't think we all expected them to, or you have to win the conference tournament to get in, but losing to UMass on the first day of the tournament, it does add a little wrinkle to this, right? Or are they safe no matter what at this point?
I think they're safe. And in fact, I wouldn't even be shocked if they avoided Dayton. I think they're plenty safe in this tournament. Will they end up in Dayton? Maybe, because their wins above the bubble probably took a hit losing this game to UMass as opposed to losing to Akron or one of the other teams that are a little higher rated in the conference. But even still, what I will be interested in, I have no doubt in my mind that Miami is going to hear their name called on Sunday. Where I will be interested, Justin, is to see where they get seated, because there is absolutely no precedent for this Miami team. Their metrics on KenPom, Torvik, all of those are, in the 90s. They're not great. whereas their resume metrics, their wins above the bubble, their strength of record, all those metrics are more indicative of being in the 8-9 game, maybe the 10 seed now that they've lost this game. But there's really no precedent for a team that's gone undefeated and had metrics as polar opposite as Miami does. So it'll be a good, I think for mid-majors across the country, this will be a very good, test scenario to see what does Miami end up with. But they'll hear their name called. They'll be in the tournament.
They had a little bit of a break, of course, I'm on the air. You good? Sorry. No, we have a little bit of a break, of course, from sorry, I got my ADD all thrown off. No, they had a little bit of a break, of course, from the regular season to today playing in the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Now a break to Selection Sunday, and then even longer than that. I mean, this is going to be a long break, another week break in between. How do you see that kind of playing a role in this? I mean, there's so many question marks with this team. Where are they going to be seated? Where are they going to play? Who are they going to play? Where are they going to play? And when are they going to play? Miami, the most polarizing team in this tournament at this point.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Because look, if they do end up in Dayton, they could be playing in 5 days on Tuesday, or they could get thrown somewhere into a region in a pod that plays next Friday, and they could have 8 days off. I mean, we really have no idea what's going to happen here with Miami. So they'll be in, but you talk about rest versus rust. This is probably a team that it won't hurt them to get back to the drawing board and figure some things out. I thought they left a ton on the table defensively today, Justin. It's one of those deals where when I sit in the media seating at Miami, it's courtside. And when I watch this team on TV, it's different than actually being in the arena and sitting in an elevated view and seeing what's going on defensively. I don't know why it's so different in person versus on a screen. That's just a helpful viewing experience for me. And I thought Miami left a lot on the table defensively today. I really did. I thought they struggled to guard. And if they're going to struggle to guard against UMass, what will happen next week, in the first round of the NCAA tournament? So those are things you're looking for, but also this team has adjusted extremely well through the season when adversity has hit them or they've needed to have a bounce back game. Now they're going to have to do it against what will likely be a power conference opponent.
All right, couple quick things on the way out. Again, I know you're in Cleveland. Are you staying in Cleveland with them out, or are you heading back?
No, we are. No, we're not coming back. We're headed down to Pittsburgh for Dayton tomorrow morning. Yep.
Were you planning that no matter what, whether they went or not?
Well, we were going to be here with Miami no matter how long they went, unless Xavier had gone to the Big East Championship game. We were going to have to figure out, that one. We flew in from New York this morning, basically went straight to the arena, and now instead of being here for 3 days, we're going to go down to Pittsburgh.
Sounds like a plan. So you got Dayton tomorrow, UCF, UC. UC season pretty much, unless they go to that Vegas tournament again. Is Cincinnati season done?
I mean, it's done in the sense of meaningful games with the NCAA tournament. Do they have to play in the Crown because of contractual obligations, or do they have to play in the NIT for the same reason? Maybe. But for all intents and purposes, Cincinnati season is over. And now the question is, does Wes Miller come back next year?
Yep. All eyes on that. Xavier, of course, they win against Marquette. They'll play again coming up later on tonight at 7:00. But yeah, Xavier, they get a Big East tournament win.
They do. Marquette yesterday by the same score that they lost to Marquette last year, and now they got to conquer Goliath in UConn. We'll see what happens tonight, 7:00.
Teams we've talked about all season. You saw Wright State in the semifinal against NKU. They closed it out against Detroit. I thought they were done. I thought Detroit had that in the bag. I thought, man, they came this far, but hey, good season. We've seen some weird comebacks against NKU on a few occasions, and they had to come back from 12, but they pull it off. And Clint Sargent, in his second year as a head coach, leads the Raiders to the tournament.
Yeah, really impressed with the way that team came together down the stretch. They were the best team in the league this season, and you had a mix of youth and experience, but a lot of youth on that team, and you're wondering to yourself, when you get Michael Cooper, TJ Birch, guys that really haven't been in that situation, can they overcome some of that adversity where they get down late in the game? And they were studs. They were winners. Michael Amari Bay steps to the line. All of those things come together, and they win the Horizon League title for the first time in a few seasons, and Clint Sargent gets into the NCAA tournament. So, congrats to Wright State. A really well-played game there to clinch their bid.
Dayton tomorrow, you're going to see them, of course. Your thoughts on that matchup? We don't know who they're going to play yet, but your thoughts on Dayton heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis has kind of limped to the finish here. So when you look at what Dayton is able to do, I think I picked VCU to win the tournament. But I picked Dayton as my, if VCU doesn't win, who's my second team? I would say Dayton, again, I've said this a million times. I think every single week I've been on the show with you, Justin. I sound like a broken record, but everybody listening to this knows they haven't won the tournament since 2003. At some point, they're going to have to break the streak. Is it this year? I hope it is. I hope Dayton wins the A10 tournament this year, and we're watching them play next week. This team is capable of doing it. They are good enough to do it when they put it all together. They got to do it 3 times in 3 days. I think they can. I think the bracket actually sets up fairly well for them, and yeah, so we'll see and tip the ball up tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
In the last 5 years, the most teams from the state of Ohio that have made the tournament has been 3 on a few occasions. But Wright State's in, Miami's in. You would think Ohio State looks pretty safe at this point. And now we'll just keep an eye on what's going on with UD and the A10. Xavier's still alive. But Akron, there are a lot of Ohio teams left in that MAC tournament over there. So we'll see what happens. But, could be a couple more teams making it from the state of Ohio, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would not be stunned at all. I think Akron's the runaway favorite to win this tournament now. So, I would not be shocked at all if John Gross is the MAC champion on Saturday night.
All right, you the man. Hey, by the way, Mike LaTulip, I had a chance to work with him in the final the other night. He said to tell you hello, by the way. So,
the man.
Yeah, he said he worked with you for the TBT games in the past. And, so cool stuff. But hey, you the man, Paul. I know you're busy traveling a lot. Enjoy it. This is the best time of year, and we'll talk next week. I'll see you in Dayton next week.
Appreciate it, Justin. Thanks for having me on.
All right, that was Paul Fritschner from the Rebound Rundown. Awesome enough to give us some time. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Step away for a few moments. 937-518